Hi, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. My name is Ursie, and today I am greeted by my friend Krista. Krista has joined us on the playground once before, and now today's the second day. Welcome, Krista.
Thank you. Welcome to you, Ursula. Nice to see you on the screen.
Before we get started, I just want to say, you and I, having met right before the playground launched, and how we helped each other get your story up into this YouTube channel. And I would just offer, if anyone's listening who has a wonderful story or a book or card deck or art that they want to share as well, but you haven't made it into the YouTube world or social media, feel free to reach out to me through the Ascension Playground website. Through this channel site in the chat room, and let's talk, because there are wonderful voices and artists and authors like Krista who I'm willing to see if we can find a way to bring you out and share what you love doing in your gift of service to the world, and let's just play. So that's my little infomercial, because when I think of you, Krista, I go, wow, congratulations. We figured out Zoom. We figured out, how to get images shared, how to get a computer, the sound and the camera together. So here we are. And to greet us today, we typically choose a card. And again, we've chosen Colette Barron-Reid's Spirit Animal Oracle deck. So today, who's joining us on the playground with Colette's amazing card deck is number 15, Cow Spirit. And Cow Spirit's message to all of us is basically that the miracles are endless. Now, you're going to understand why Cow Spirit was chosen to come and join us in a moment when we get to talk about Krista and her book, one of her 2 books. But today, number 15, Cow Spirit, according to Colette Barron-Reid, here's the Oracle's message. And hopefully this message, you're hearing it, will be a perfect message for your day. Here we go. You are at a beautiful point in your life today, for your needs are being met effortlessly and in so many ways. Fully embrace this truth by focusing on all you have right now, including the positive relationships that sustain you, the work you are proud to do to contribute to the world, and the activities that inspire and nourish your soul. So Cow Spirit nudges you to pay attention, because this is the perfect time to focus on the choices, actions, and behaviors that feed your soul and bring your heart contentment. So wonderful. Thank you, Cow Spirit, for joining us. And what a big and simple message at the same time. Do what feeds your soul. What do you think about that, Krista?
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And that's what happened when I wrote my books, which I didn't expect to write. And it was just magic. Magic happened. I was doing a little painting for the first book, and I was just messing around on a canvas. And it was right after 9/11. So it was a very sad time, and people were kind of blown wide open, I think. People were going around with their mouths open, just not believing it. And I was doing this some white creature around its neck. And it looked so wise. It just looked at me, and I looked at it, and I thought in my mind, I said, wow, you sure seem to have a personality. And clear as day in the center of my head, I heard a musical voice, and it said, thank you for doing my portrait. My name's Mrs. Tipperwillow. I went, what? So I wrote it on the back of the canvas, Mrs. Tipperwillow. And then during the next week, I kept seeing the same images over and over and over again. I saw a child reaching out with her hands towards a ball that would come into her hands, cotton candy. And I saw birch trees, a whole forest of birch trees, and there was a red bird in the birch tree. Over and over, I saw this, and I had no idea. I was talking to a friend on the phone. And started listening, and sure enough, a story came in, and it just kept growing and growing. And if I ever had a point where I didn't know what I was doing, there was nothing coming in, then I just waited, meditated a little, and then the next part came in, just really rushing in. So it was a fascinating process for me. That was my first book and my first experience with that kind of thing, with writing a story. And it turned into 3 connected stories in one book, Mrs. Tipperwillow's Afterlife Adventures. So
let me pause for a moment, and we'll go ahead and share an image of your book. Here we go. There she is. Can you describe her a little bit more again?
Yes. Well, she in the original painting I did, she didn't look exactly like a cow, but she had the feeling tone of a cow. But she had this antler in between her eyes, like where her third eye would be. And what I got during the book, which I didn't know what it was until she explained it, was that it's a sensing organism. And the little creature around her neck is called Snooty. And that's her little companion that comes with her everywhere. Is a protector and caretaker of children who have passed away. She forms with them a sweet little family and takes care of these kids, and shows a great deal both of compassion and of humor with them, and accepts each one for who they are. So that's the beginning of the story.
Now, if you didn't set out to be an author, but this content just came in, would you consider this channeled in a certain way?
Oh, definitely channeled. At one point, I was just trying to get used to the computer, and I deleted a whole chapter by mistake when I was moving it, because I wrote it by hand first, just with a pen and paper. And then I was putting it on, and what did I do? I lost it. And boy, don't you know, it came back word for word. I retyped it word for word after a 3-page chapter. So it was definitely channeled. And, the spirits who were helping me were probably laughing at my making mistakes.
Wow. Well, this whole idea of an afterlife adventure, what we've been going through for the last couple years, seeing the darkest of days, perhaps, with so many people passing. Your book for me is very timely because it's spoken through the voices of children. Can you, I can't remember the date that you wrote this or this was published, but it feels like it was written for this time.
It was around 2000, I'm not even sure, 2006, 2007, something like that. But it took me quite a long time to, go through it and shift and change and listen, and, because it was the first time. It wasn't just everything going to come out immediately just right. So I was shifting sentences around and had a lot of fun with it, really.
Wow. Now, do you think Mrs. Tipperwillow is one of your animal spirits? Or is she completely ascended and a different kind of dimension coming through?
Yeah, I think she's a spirit who was human, who lived on Earth, and presents herself to children because it's fun, because they love it. And it tells in the book how she got there. The strange thing for me, and the wonderful thing, is that as you read the book, it starts to become more than just a story that's outside of you, because actually the children came to me in the story, and they helped me with places where there was a gap and I couldn't figure out how to get from one idea to the next, or one chapter to the next. And I said, well, what about this? And they came into my kitchen while I was doing the dishes. And I asked the question. He said, oh, that's what happened there. Oh, I said, of course it was. So that actually became part of the story, is our connection. So are they real? That's the question that children ask and adults. Are they real? Are there real children in the afterlife who were connecting with me through the story? That's the question and the excitement. Or is it just a story?
I know that I didn't know you well enough. I went onto Amazon and I bought your book, Mrs. Tipperwillow, and I started reading it. And I was amazed at how much high level esoteric wisdom is put in terms of children talking about things. But it's almost like the heavy, big material of spirituality comes down at a child's digestive kind of site, like, or state. And I love that.
That's true. It's funny because I've heard that children as young as 3 have loved this book when it's read to them, and the oldest child who's read it, to my knowledge, and loved it was 81.
Wow. Now tell us a little bit about that beautiful graphic and the illustrations for the book of Mrs.
Well, that is my daughter Jenny's work, and she's just a lovely person and a wonderful artist. And I'm so excited that she could join me in Mrs. Tipperwillow to really get the feeling of this animal, this being here to us. She's called in the book a sort of cow because she walks on 2 legs, and she loves hats and feathers. She loves to dress up, and so she's not quite a cow because she's not.
She would probably be called a holy cow.
Yes, I think that's absolutely correct. Yeah.
I love that she wears pearls with the red dress, but I love this idea that as a child has passed over, let's say, and gone to the other realm, from earth into, let's say, the in-between realm, that she presents herself as user-friendly, almost like a Mary Poppins kind of figure.
Exactly. The first painting I did, which I don't have right here to show you right now, really it just had this wisdom to it, and it reminded me very much of Mary Poppins and her attitude and her, she's so loving, and she's so real and knowledgeable, and but she says everything with the most compassion and the most care. So, little Gino is always such a little scamp, but she never gets angry with him. He's always going off and doing crazy things.
I really think you can pick up your book and start just about anywhere. I mean, I just love looking at some of the pictures. And so tell me, like, if a family unfortunately has lost a child or a loved one, and reading your book might help, would you say, almost create an imaginal place of, it's not over when we pass or we drop our bodies, right? There's
Absolutely. I think that's the big takeaway. And that it's fun for children, that they don't have to worry about their loved ones, if they're kids or adults, being left out or not being loved and cared for, because there's compassion for everyone, regardless.
wow,
And
so
children especially.
I just think when you started writing till what's happening today, it's perfect timing. And then I'm going to segue, I'm going to surprise you. Let's talk a little bit about your second book,
Oh, okay.
2065. And so we see this one came first, right?
Yes.
And then 2065. Give
Right.
us the backstory on that.
Well, let's see. The backstory on that is I was walking with my husband, hiking with him up overlooking the ocean. And he was, we were just walking along, and I looked up in the sky and I saw this blue ribbon going across the sky. I was like, what? I'm seeing this, how? There's this blue ribbon. And then I saw a lavender ribbon going across, above it. I thought, what on earth is that? And then I got the feeling, oh, that's a sky train. What on earth is that? And then that's what started me. And so I had a feeling for Mrs. Tipperwillow, pay attention to those signals, those signs and signals that the universe gives you. And so I started writing it. And just like with Mrs. Tipperwillow, the characters came very much alive. I still feel great, such good feelings for the characters in the story. And it's an odd little book because it gives ideas of what the future could be. One of the first things as I was writing it, it was in September. I remember I was writing it in September, and I was writing about pods of the future, how people will live and learn in pods, and there will be groupings of like-minded others that are interested in the same things. And 4 months later, I read another channeler, and she was talking about pods of the future, the same thing. And then another one about 6 months after that. And then I've started hearing now people are talking about pods in a different way than they were, not just the containers for stuff you want to ship,
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, so I just the affirmation, oh yeah, I'm tapping into something, that's real here. And that book is a kind of a combination of almost a sci-fi thing, but it has some really, really good and deep ideas for how we can shift our perception of reality in order to change our future, our present even. And my favorite thing was when the character Cad, who had always felt like he didn't quite belong. Okay, I lost my track here. Can you tell me? Oh yes, I did lose it. So anyway, the character Cad was feeling like he didn't belong. He changed pods into actor's pod because he figured maybe he would fit better there. And so, okay, now there I go again. So part of me is going off into another dimension right now, and I have to ground myself again, which people should know. I'm probably not the only one this ever happens to. Okay, hold on just a second. So, so Cad, come on, you guys, help me here. Spirit, help me here. So anyway, Cad decided that he would create himself a new past. And his acting class suggested they try that. He gave himself a new past where he, instead of being a loner and disregarded by his mother and by his parents, was popular, and he was funny, and he was the class clown, and he'd been in acting school, and he had lots of friends. So he concentrated on this over and over and over again until what really had happened went sliding into the background. And so and people couldn't believe this was the same child who'd been so unhappy. And he was telling jokes, and he made lots of friends, and people were coming up to him like they never had before. And so it was just a lovely thing. And the strange thing for me is that I actually used this the first time I had to give a talk in front of an audience at the Children of the New Earth conference. And I'd never done anything like that before. So I put myself in plays, and from grade school and through high school. I was on the debating team. That wasn't me and the old me. And sure enough, I went through and I gave the talk, and it worked out just fine.
Good.
So,
Well, I would just say, having received 2 books to come through you, one that's of the future and one, Miss Tipperwillow, of helping us understand what happens after life. For me, what's coming up is Pam Gregory, the astrologer who we both listened to, was recently interviewing geobiologist Rory Duff. And Rory is talking about sacred networks and how important this is as we go forward into the Aquarian age. But his call was really for us to start creating a sense of prophecy, that we have the ability, if we tune into our dreams or we work in small groups, to start recording some of the dream time. But when in our conversation today, Krista, you're helping me see that you're almost living this waking dream where you're allowing the worlds to kind of, whether this ribbon of red or blue go through, you're allowing your perception and sight to tune into a broader frequency of multidimensionality. And that's what feels like it's for me. So congratulations to actually manifest 2 books, working with spirit.
Yeah, well, and what's interesting to me is it's the same as the animal totem. Really, it wasn't that I was trying to do anything. It's in those gaps where you're not thinking anything that this stuff comes through. So just as I couldn't before, I couldn't remember what I was going to say about CAD. Sometimes I'm shifting and going into different places. I'm kind of going into that white zone. And for creation, that's a very good thing, but not so much while you're on camera.
or driving or going downstairs. Well, what a treat to have this time together and to learn more about your path, being a mom, being an artist, allowing for creativity to come through in a channeled way. And for me, the heart opening is really around in service to the greater humanity.
Absolutely. Well, as we get older, I think we start to realize that that's what it is. That's what it's about. Can I make one person smile today? That's the simple one. Can I do that? What can I do today that will perk someone up, that will lift the energies, because they are so crazy right now. And there's a lot of people going around going, what? And it is that kind of time, but we're really at the apex of change now. So we just keep our hearts in love and compassion and service, and and having a great time with it, playing with it. Yeah.
And on Ascension Playground too, this idea of allowing your inner child to step in and guide when the adult you is probably maybe moves more towards fear or uncertainty or doubt, to allow yourself to follow the creative inner child, your inner child. And so in closing, we'll go ahead and thank this beautiful cow spirit with the message again that the miracles are endless. So thank you, cow spirit.
Can I say
Krista.
one more thing?
Oh, absolutely.
May I say one more thing?
Yes.
That's just, if people are interested in getting my book, my books are on Amazon. This is Tipperwillow's Afterlife Adventures and 2065 in the Beginning by Krista Markowitz, those 2. So just in case.
I'll put them in the chat room too, just
okay, great.
read it. Well, thank you again, and hope to see you next time on
Okay.
the Ascension Playground. Bye, Krista.
Bye-bye.